Hello and welcome to GatherVerse Summit 2025. And what an amazing fireside chat that was with Christopher and Michael Allison. And I have to say, I have much respect for Michael Allison and what he does. So thank you for joining us, Michael. And also, we're just going to quickly say, welcome panelists, and thank you for joining us as well. I want to make sure that everyone mutes their microphone, so that that's already been done, so that's fantastic. We just want to make sure that we give space for people to speak, etc. When it's obviously their turn to talk. And we're going to get into some introductions, but before we do, the topic of this roundtable discussion is investing in founders, how to support the next generation of leaders. I'm very excited about this as an entrepreneur and a fellow founder myself, and for many years been an entrepreneur, so I'm very excited to discuss this topic. So what we'll do is we'll do quick 30-second introductions from each of you, and then once we've done the introductions, then we'll get into the questions. So we'll start with Barry, and then we'll go to Arayla, and then we'll go to Ryan, Monet, and then so on and so forth. So let's start with you, Barry. Just quick 30-second introduction from yourself.
Awesome. Thank you. Barry Celestin. Recently started, lifelong entrepreneur, just diving into AI technology and just pushing the limits, basically. I've just completed a recent MVP, and I'm working on another application where we're just intertwining AI as much as possible to streamline services for underserved businesses, if that makes sense. I've been in technology for the last, 15, 20 years or so.
Well, a long time. Well, thank you for joining us, Barry, and it's great to have you with us here at GatherVerse. And Arayla, welcome. Good to see you.
It's a pleasure, Russell. Thank you for inviting me. So this is Arayla. I am the Chief Operation Officer and Director of Partnerships at Global Innovation Management Institute, a professional network headquartered in US of 20,000 members, which are startups, corporates, innovation professionals. What we do is help them build capabilities on innovation and, of course, generate results when it comes to strategic growth. But also previously, what I've done all my life has been supporting startups, social enterprises, providing funds, helping them in terms of mentoring and crowdfunding and all different ways to make them succeed in the market.
Well, thank you for joining us, Arayla. And Ryan, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Great to meet you all. Thanks for the opportunity to be present at this awesome event. And my name is Ryan Lavelle. I'm the founder and CEO of Empower and also Dark to Light Coaching. We'll focus on Empower today because this is my main project. I've been at it about 5 years. And my background actually is risk management, technology, and in the finance space. But I made a pivot about 5 years ago when blockchain kind of entered the world. I got very excited about the potential of that technology to disrupt. I'm big into international development and social impact. And I wanted to make a change. Saw there, many systems that weren't serving parts of the developing nations in particular, family ties to Africa. So I started Empower, and it's really aimed at, accelerating SDG impact projects like a kind of digital incubator ecosystem, trying to vertically integrate, bring together funding, training, capacity building, technology, everything in one ecosystem to help the entrepreneurs in those communities to affect change.
Well, thank you for joining us, Ryan. And I appreciate you being here. And Monette, welcome. Good to see you again.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I'm Monet. I am the CEO and founder of Let Me Ask Monet. We are the one-stop shop for everything career pivots and career transitions. So I provide anything from career strategy and also career strategy and also career coaching. And right now, one of our big things that we're working on is the Offer Ready Talent series, where we're showcasing Offer Ready talent that is ready to receive their offers today. There is a job market out here that I'm trying to help and make sure that talent is addressed quickly and talent is secured. And looking forward to today's discussion. And thank you again for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Monet. And that's exciting, by the way. Love to see what happens with that. Now, James, welcome. Please introduce yourself, and yeah, welcome to GatherVerse.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Ademule James. I am an AI ethicist and I'm also the founder of Greenwood Integrated Technology Hub, where we provide digital services in various technological niches in cybersecurity, in artificial intelligence, in software development, machine learning, and the likes. I developed interest in AI ethics where I was doing a job for a client and the AI discriminated against me. So my research and interest dovetails examining how we can use AI responsibly while using it to affect humanity in many positive ways. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, James. And Gabriel, welcome. Please introduce yourself, and yeah, welcome to GatherVerse. Your microphone is not working for some reason. We can't seem to hear you. I don't know why that is. We'll come back to you, Gabriel. We'll head over to Judith. So Judith, welcome. Please introduce yourself and unmute your microphone. And glad to have you with us today.
Hello, good evening. Hi, my name is Judith Ifezue from Nigeria, and I'm a communications coach. I help founders, professionals, and executives to eliminate stage fright, build their confidence, and speak 10 times better. I've helped 37 people so far in 2 years to speak better, build confidence, and eliminate stage fright. Thank you so much for having me, and I can't wait to dive into this discussion.
And thank you for joining us, Judith, and welcome. And Gabriel, where are we at on your side? Have you got your microphone sorted? No, okay, not working.
Can you hear me? No.
Oh, there we go.
Right, let's
we
see.
can hear you.
All right.
Gabriel, welcome.
All right. Good. Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriel Achusikanku, co-founder of Esports Africa News and Esports Africa Tournament. I'm originally from Ghana, but based in England. And what we do is to promote and spotlight everything esports, game development from the African region. And we are happy to be here and connect with everyone. And we're looking forward to collaborate on more projects, especially on SDGs.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us, Gabriel. And I guess last but not least is myself. So my name is Russell Bundy. I am the founder of Just Verify. And also, Gabriel, can you just mute your microphone quickly? We're just getting a little bit of feedback there. Thank you very much. So I'm the founder of Just Verify and also the director of partnerships at GatherVerse. And basically at Just Verify, we focused on AI verification and creating the trust layer between AI and human and AI and human interactions, and how we can keep people safe, and also how you can trust AI as well. So let's get straight into the questions. Someone's been switching my questions, but anyways, what qualities stand out most when identifying founders with strong potential? So we'll start with Barry, and then we'll head over to you, Aurelia. So Barry, over to you.
Awesome. I would say, apart from expertise in, well, a lot of folks like to say the expertise in a particular domain would be key, but I always like to base it on passion. I think you can always galvanize a team around a particular individual to drive a process forward, but passion is really what will take you through those slumps, especially those productivity slumps. So usually you look for that passion within that person, and also what is their end goal. A lot of times we're founding companies with the intent to hold on. It's not really the industry we're in. A lot of companies, especially with investors, they're always looking for that exit path. So yeah. I think looking for someone who has that passion to drive it to where, to that point, and with that vision to take it there, and just their ability to galvanize a team around them as well.
So like the creativity, the leadership skills, the confidence, even the communication ability, right? Allowing space for members of the team to thrive in their side of things. For example, if you've got a chief marketing officer, you want them to be able to thrive in the marketing aspect. So if a good founder or leader can allow the marketing person that space to be able to run and do what they do best, which is marketing, then that's another, strong quality. Do you agree with that?
Completely. I mean, the ability to bring in experts and trust that these experts can do their job or inspire them to do their job is really what you want in a particular leader. Yeah.
And Ryla, what's your thoughts on the conversation so far?
We have a framework at Jimmy, basically, which we frame innovators and founders in 4 main components. One is grit. Basically, they need to have grit, they need to have persistence, basically, and despite the setbacks and obstacles, they have to move on. Second, they need to have a growth mindset. And I heard actually Michael mentioning that in the previous panel. Growth mindset means that even if you don't know something, you are positive that you will learn that thing. And you are always positive despite the challenges. And that's important in particular also for the team, for the partners, for the stakeholders, for the VCs, whatever are everyone that is interacting with you as a founder, you have to be positive. You can't show the all-nighters and all the different stuff that the founders go through. The third one is flexible execution. So we always say you need to build the plane while you are flying, meaning that you, as a startup, you need to get the insight and the feedback from the market. So you need to basically release the product fast. Because the competition and all what we are discussing today. So meaning you need to be flexible, iterate fast, get the insights inside, iterate fast, and be flexible and pivot. And the last one is creative collaborations. What do I mean by that? Being a startup, normally you don't have enough resources, right? So you need to be creative in the collaborations you start creating, because you need to think about like partnerships sometimes which are not natural or are beyond your industry, right, in your adjacencies and all this kind of stuff. And you need to look for these networks and these partners to make things real. And this is for a founder, but this is also for an entrepreneur, because people always think, oh, I need budget to do this. Sometimes there is no budget. You have to be creative and find those outside.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I can definitely relate to that a lot. And, collaboration is a very underutilized skill, when it comes to entrepreneurship and being a leader. And a lot of people don't think that. They think, oh, my God, I haven't got the financial backing. And then they're just like, okay, well, I give up. And talking about financial backing, how can investors provide meaningful support beyond financial backing? So, Ryan, we'll bring you into this, and then Monet, we'll head over to you after. So, Ryan, please.
Yeah, I think just sort of keying off of what Arella was saying, I mean, the investor mindset and what an investor means to a business, it's not just the funding. And as a founder, like you just said, right, everyone's always looking for money, but actually you're looking for the ideal marriage. It's a process where you want to bring in someone who is not only maybe not having the same passion as you as a founder, but has the insight and the market experience, has kind of walked the walk, been through a few exits, has a large network, can open doors. So yeah, I mean, a lot of what founders face is not really financial issue. It's blind spots, not knowing what you don't know. So yeah, a good investor is a sounding board, a mentor, and someone who puts the brakes on when they need to put on, tells you when to hit the accelerator, when to accelerate, and helps you put in place, good risk management, really good standards for the business as a whole. That's how I look at an investor.
No, and I mean, also just to add to that as well, Ryan, I will say, constructive criticism. Maybe they have, expertise where the founder doesn't. Maybe he's a young founder. He's only got a couple of years experience. And, sometimes you need that guidance and that light to say, hey, just steer this way and you'll be all right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you're forming a relationship, right? So
yeah,
the investor is there to help the founder. They've put their own money into it, or a consortium of money. So they've shown their commitment. So they're really your first champion, and it's about that, building that long-term relationship with the investor.
For sure. And also I think network as well plays a little part in that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, Monet, let's bring you into this as well. What are your thoughts?
Thank you. So yes, Ryan, great speaking point, because I was going to mention the same thing. Like, don't get me wrong, definitely write the check, but don't stop there. Make sure that you're opening doors, making introductions, challenge their thinking, and encourage critical thinking. I really feel too many investors will just throw money at the startup and then ghost them. But the goal is to really be a true partner and not just a silent stakeholder. So just helping founders and myself too, like, learn about what didn't work for them and what you do differently. Let's talk about your hindsight, because hindsight is 2020. What would you do differently if you could start all over again? Or what didn't work for you and what caused you a lot of money and time and uncomfortable conversations? That's the leap that you're expecting from investors to provide beyond the financial backing as well.
And maybe like there's a part of matchmaking here as well, right? As in like relationship wise, like for example, if I'm a founder and I'm looking for an investor, I'm thinking, okay, can I actually work with this investor? Like, are they actually on my channel, or are they just gonna like cause so many issues and make the business even more harder, or are they gonna make it easier and actually be able to help and assist? So it's kind of like a two-way relationship. I wouldn't call it like a love making, but it's like a matchmaking kind of thing, right? So
Yes, for sure.
but yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that, Monet, and I agree with you on all your sentiments that you said there. So thank you for that. And James, Gabriel, we're going to be heading over to you both next. And the question for this one is very interesting, which is, what challenges do early stage founders face, and how can they be addressed? And again, as a fellow young entrepreneur myself, there's obviously a lot of challenges that I face too. But I want to hear your perspectives on this. So, James, please share your input.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the most common challenge with startups and organizations when they are trying to innovate is most of them get stuck in the pilot phase of their development. What I mean by that is that they get stuck up where they are producing a product or they are developing a product, and they can't move forward to the next phase, which is opening up the product for public use and commercialization. And most of this goes down to, I think, funding, sometimes lack of adequate infrastructure for scalability. So, for example, according to data, most of like 80% of African startups do not go beyond the pilot phase. So that is why there is extreme fascination when a project is launched and you get to hear about it in the news. But after like 3, 5 years, you don't see them again. You don't see them making any real progress in terms of impact in the larger community. Because when it comes to innovation, innovation has to have a very specific target, a kind of problem it is solving, a kind of solution it is providing, or maybe enhancing the productivity or efficiency of existing systems. So when projects are launched or developed and they don't get scaled to the level where they can actually impact the real world, I think that is the major challenge we have in this present reality. And I think it all comes down to funding and then lack of adequate infrastructure. For instance, in Africa, like according to UNESCO, only 2% of the global AI data is sourced from Africa. So you can imagine someone who wants to produce an African-based AI product and needs an African data to do that. Where is the data? The data is not there. There is a lack of infrastructure, and it can affect productivity and scalability when it comes to funding projects.
No, for sure, and I sometimes, like, when it comes to challenges for early stage founders, it kind of comes back to basics. What I mean by that is, when it comes to the vision, the mission, the strategies, how are the goals going to align with the strategies? How does everything align with your overall vision, and how what are the tactics to get to that overall strategy? Like, sometimes it's just very simple things like that which people forget about, or even planning, right? Planning and execution, simple things like that. If you can get the structure right internally, that helps a lot with when you're pushing forward and when you're driving towards your overall vision. So when you're saying about funding, James, I completely agree with that. but sometimes we have to start internally to then externally get to that funding. So then we can then say, hey, investor, I've already figured everything out. Here's all the strategies for you. Here's what we're going to be doing in the next 2 to 3 years. Here's our ROI, etc. Are you interested? Then at that time, they might go, okay, yeah, all right, let's put 2 million in or whatever it may be. So, Gabriel, that being said, what are your thoughts? Because I'm curious to hear what you're thinking.
No, I think I agree with you all, and especially what you've just said. And I'm going to pivot from there because knowing your product and knowing how you're gonna get it moving from startup to growth and sustainability is key. Because, like Lesson was saying, sometimes it's not always about the money. Say, I pivot from the esports section. So we need a community. Africa has got the youngest population. We're growing, and we're growing in access to internet and mobile, 5G mobile. So we've got the numbers. Sometimes we don't really need the Western community to get involved in this scope, because if we can trust ourselves and believe in our product and use our product, the numbers can tell for themselves. So for esports, at the moment, we don't have a major African tournament. We don't have a major African interest. We don't have a major African event happening. However, we've got the numbers and we all want to participate in esports. And the community has been saying that we need to get together, get a product, a tournament that we can all be interested in, invest in, and participate in. If we should all participate in that particular event, we are going to outnumber any other Western tournament. Absolutely. So sometimes we don't really need the money. We've got all the resources. It's about that leadership, that dedication to driving a particular theme, a particular interest to make sure it happens. But if we keep digressing and getting distracted, then we're not going to reach the end goal. And sometimes that's what happens.
Would you say? Sorry, just jump in, but would you say that it also starts with the human? And what do I mean by that is, do you think that it starts with the customer first, as in like the human first, and then the product after? Because people can build products, but then have no customers or humans technically to sell it to or be a part of it. So would you say it is the customer first, or would you say it's the product, or potentially both even at the same time?
It is both. I was going to say it is both, because even now, AI, crypto, it's a combination of both, because we are getting interested in AI because someone has said it will make your work easier, or it will make you think faster, it will make you do something faster. And most of us have no idea about AI, but we are more interested because we are the people who are going to use the product. We are getting interested in it because of the way it's been marketed to us. So everyone wants to become an expert in something, but the tool that they need is being developed through engagement. So we need both the community and the expertise to develop that engagement.
No, yeah, I agree. And also, as someone said earlier, the feedback, you get them back. All that continuous feedback, getting from customers, continuous feedback from fellow investors, like Ryan said, just continuous feedback from people. That's how you're always going to move forward, I totally agree with what you're saying, Gabriel.
Absolutely.
Which then brings me on to my next question now, which is, how do you balance risk and long-term vision when investing in new ventures? So Judith, will head over to you for this, and then we'll head over to you after, Arayla, because this will be very interesting, because I'd be interested to hear your point of view, Arayla, on this as well. So Judith, over to you.
All right, so I believe that on a global scale, the key to invest is not just the business model. Instead of fixating on short-term metrics or access to the founders, give me a second. Instead of fixing on short-term metrics, always put more.
It's okay.
Fixating on short-term metrics. Instead of fixating on just short-term metrics, always put more efforts into assessing a founder's resilience, their problem-solving, the willingness to learn from their setbacks. Now, what I believe this means is, it's just checking out, okay, how can this person use this money, or how can this person put this into work. You should be able to know, okay, is this person just good at using the money, or is person resilient? And is the person going to put this money into good use? Now, you should check they are great at solving problems for their industry or for their company, or they're just good at telling you, I'll do this with the money or do that, and then they're never great at putting the money into use. So it's very, very important not just to pick someone that is great at writing plans and business models. You should pick someone who is resilient, that even if it doesn't go to plan with the plan A, will do great with the plan B. So that's way for investors to bask with long-term vision.
No, I mean that's a very valid and interesting point, and I will add to that as well. You know, when it comes to again, this is business 101. When it comes to risk and mitigation, very, very simple things like that, right? You're identifying what the risk is, and then what are the ways in which you can mitigate that as much as possible to lower the chances of the risk. So, Arayla, please do share your thoughts on this. On how do you balance risk and long-term vision when investing in new ventures?
Yeah, one simple expression is don't put all the eggs in one basket, right? So try to, it's as simple as that. Try to diversify the risk. And now there is one point of view from the investor side, and there is the point of view from the startup founder side. But I will stay here for a minute. I think it's important, first of all, to as a startup founder to pivot, and I would mention this a lot because it has happened to startups that we know right now are big companies. Slack started as a gaming company and went to a workplace communication, so they pivoted. They saw that there was basically a risk and probably not demand there. There are startups like Amazon was 6 years without a net profit, right? And they had a vision. So you have to prepare the investors about that vision, and those investors have to basically, in a way, understand what you are going through. But is everyone Jeff Bezos? No, we understand that. So you need to start thinking about sort of generating cash right now. And how do you do that? You should start thinking what are the different ways. Same thing happened with Airbnb, right? During the financial crisis, they started I think Obama serial started to put that plan into action because they had to survive. And sometimes it's about also the market timing. You have to be at the right place at the right time. And it happened, for example, to Zoom, right? They started 2011. I remember using Zoom 2014. It was kind of, and then 2020, basically, pandemic happened and boom, they exploded. So it's also about timing, and you have to grab the opportunity. This is your power. You have to grab the opportunity because opportunities don't come very often. So I think all this, I said few things in there, but I think grab opportunities, try to generate cash, powers of N, generate cash while thinking also about the vision, attract the right investors who understand your vision, so sort of they can be patient.
I want to ask another question as well, which is there's an old saying, right? Do you back the jockey or the horse, right? So I want to ask you that question, right? Like, what are your thoughts on that when it comes to backing the jockey or the horse? Like, do you back both, or do you back the jockey, or do you back the horse? Like, what is the one that you back the most?
I haven't heard the expression.
So. Okay. Well, Ryan has. So Ryan, come on, help me out here. What are you backing? The jockey or the horse?
I think it's sort of 80-20, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're not going to ride a race without the horse, but equally without the jockey driving the horse the right way and adapting to conditions on the race course, then you're not going to win anything. So, but it's largely down to the founder, because there's so much change and churn and pivoting and adjustment in any business, any startup, especially now in the world of AI, because everything's changing every 10 minutes. It does come to the founder and like how agile they are and how adaptable and resilient and the human skills. I think in the early stage anyway, it changes. As the business matures, different set of problems, different requirements. Things get more stable, and it's less about the early stage founder kind of wizardry and more about the kind of fundamentals of the business. As it moves.
Like, for example, how they execute, how do they what is their business model? How do they make money? Just simple things like that. When it comes to the business. But no, I totally agree. In the startup world right now, absolutely. I mean, you must pivot at least 50 times a day when AI is here. So
it's becoming a little bit tired, to be honest. But but equally, it's an opportunity, like we keep saying, right? This technology is there, and I think it's both a threat, but also an amazing opportunity for founders. Because we can do a lot more now, much quicker than we could do before. So
yeah, no, I agree.
It's a great enabler.
So the next question is, what role does mentorship play in strengthening the next wave of leaders? So Barry will bring you into this, and then Monet will bring you into this as well. So what are your thoughts on the role of mentorship really in strengthening our future leaders, both present and future, like the Gen Zs and the Gen As of the world?
It's actually key to a lot of this. I think mentorship really helps to guide to the destination. Ideas are great, but ideas tend to go in various directions. I think with the right mentorship, you can actually guide that energy in the most productive direction, as well as pointing out obstacles before they happen. So it's really mentorship helps to oil that machine to just keep the project or the initiative moving in a particular direction.
I also think mentors potentially bring a different perspective, which the founders don't see, right? It's always having, that third person view, like the bird's eye view, whatever you want to call it, over the business. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, blind spots, right? You tend to, you don't know what you know until you hit that obstacle.
Yeah.
So that's the purpose of a mentor.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I do agree 100%. And I think mentorship is absolutely crucial. But anyway, thank you for sharing, Barry. And Monet, what are your thoughts?
Yes, so I would definitely say that mentorship is currency, and it just goes into knowing that a 5-minute intro to the right person can be worth more than any check that they could possibly, that you could get from an investor. And let's definitely be clear that you have to make sure that mentorship without sponsorship is really just talk at the end of the day. And if you believe in someone, I definitely say put your name on the line for them. And I can speak from, experience that there's nothing worse than a mentorship that is stingy with their network or that little black book of connections that have helped them get to where they're at.
Yeah. I've seen a few of them. No names or anything.
Right.
But no, that was very interesting perspective. Like, credit. I mean, like, that is such a unique. I like that. Do you mind if I steal that, Monet? Like, use
that? Of course, I'm not going to be stingy.
Thank you very much. At least you haven't done any sort of trademark on it, so that's good.
Yes.
Let's go on to the next question now, which is how can early stage companies position themselves to attract long-term investors? James will bring you into this one, and then Gabriel will go over to you after.
Well, I think early stage companies can position themselves to attract long-term investors by showing their track record of results in their products and services. When an investor wants to invest in what you are doing, especially considering a long-term perspective, one of the major things that the investor wants to see is your track record, how you've managed your business, your profitability, your sustainability at every unit level of your product. So for a business or a company to attract long-term investor, they need to be able to showcase promise, practical evidence of real promise in the way they have managed their businesses, in terms of profit, in terms of sustainability, and in terms of the way they've handled challenges over the period of the business. When you are able to show this to an investor in a very transparent and credible manner, the investor will naturally develop interest in what you are doing and have the confidence to invest long term in your business. So I think it is important to be able to demonstrate a demonstrable and practical track record of profit and sustainability in the way you manage your business and the way you've handled challenges that has happened in your business. So thank you.
Thank you, James. And Gabriel, we'll just go over to you in a second because Arayla, I saw like you're nodding your head and stuff. I mean, Arayla, what are your opinions on this quickly?
Look, I would pinpoint something here because it's also related to the I think one of the first questions about the team, right? Because one important, okay, beside validating the demand, trying to bootstrap your startup, finding other resources beside VCs so you don't rely on VCs, all these are valid points. But I think one important point is the team, having a coachable and really good team. What I see around, to be honest with you, I see sometimes culture clash. For example, entrepreneurs in the US, and now they have dispersed teams in Europe, in Africa, in other countries, so the culture is not the same. Despite we love or we hate US culture, it's a fast-paced and it's like they have this sort of entrepreneurial spirit. Europe is a bit more laid back and sort of they have this 9-to-5 type of job. Now, it's not that I don't like that approach, but being honest with you, when you are in a startup, it's a new product. Probably you don't know the technicalities of it because it's probably an AI or SaaS solution. You don't know exactly as an entrepreneur. On the other hand, some of these people are very young, so they don't know how to hire, they don't know how to fire, so they are dealing with so many things they are learning for the first time. Not everybody starts from the experience, right? So while dealing with all this, you need a team who stands sort of behind you, and it's a team which basically trusts you, and they are trying to believe into your mission, and kind of if it's staying 2, 3, 4 hours later to really solve this, being really problem solvers, they have to. Because I see this issue more and more. I don't believe many are talking about this, but most of the startups fail because of this. They have to fire many people, disband teams, and all this kind of thing because of the culture, different things, different styles, working styles, and the culture. And I think having a good team is key. You can make it.
No, I completely agree with that. And also having co-founders myself, yeah, I completely understand that, you want people that back you and that are 100% behind you and that, are going to be there to support you. And also, in terms of the team too. And Gabriel, come back to you now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's great what Ariela said, and as well as Blessing. I just want to bring this perspective that if you've got, say, 3D printing factory, right, and it's producing stuff, your investors will either be people who use the product and sometimes people who want income from your production. So it's going to be a mixed bag of investors. So you need to target the different communities in different ways to get them to be interested in what you're doing. So if you're producing, if it's for the people who are actually going to use the product, because a lifetime of prosthetic arms, legs, or parts, or even feeding another factory, he will be interested in what you're doing because you feed into the larger picture that he's doing. Whereas in terms of the other investor who's got the cash and wants to gain income from the cash, he will invest hard-earned money into your business. So how can early stage entrepreneurs position themselves? They need to identify the groups who are going to have interest in their product to invest in differently. So you need not use the same brush to paint the same picture for everybody. You've got to be strategic in what you're doing.
Absolutely, strategic thinking all the way. And just sometimes it's just logical and common sense and everything like that as well when it comes to business. But sometimes it isn't too as well, right? Sometimes your emotions get the better of you, and then you make a horrible decision, and then you're like, oh no, I just made the wrong decision as well. So that can happen as well. And Lynn basically said, mentorship is currency, powerful Monet. That's what Lynn from Director of Communications at GatherVerse said to your. I like that, Monet. Honestly, I'm not joking. I'm still in that. I'm sorry, Monet. The next question is, what common mistakes do first-time founders make, and how can they avoid them? Oh God. I mean, where do we start on this? Barry, help me out here. Help me, Barry.
I mean, wow, that's a big canvas, to be honest. But broad strokes, I mean, I think really the first thing that jumps out is just the team that's around you. You know, you definitely, one of the things that, and this goes back to when, you know, even when I worked in industry and was hiring, you know, it's always, hey, here's our mission. And this is like the first interview. This is our mission. This is what we're trying to do, right? We're hiring you to do this. We need you, you know, and they also have to buy into the mission. But then also, you know, someone who's new to the space, when you're bringing on someone, they also have to, apart from hearing your vision, they also have to see that we're all working together as a team. And you know, Arilla, you said that earlier about just work habits and so forth. You know, I could probably count on one hand the number of people that I know that have stuck to a 9 to 5 timeline when working within our team, because the very first thing in every interview that I've had is usually, hey, I'm hiring you for X position, but this is my vision for what I would like you to do. And, you know, usually within the interview or speaking to someone, you can see whether they're buying into that or not, or that vision, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at the solution. If someone doesn't really believe, or a member of the team isn't believing in that vision and helping you push that, back to the horse analogy, pushing that that horse up the hill or cart up the hill, you know, you're really stuck, and you then have to pivot even more, and it puts a burden on not just you but the rest of your team as well. So I think it's all about building up the proper team to move forward, and that's where a lot of entrepreneurs make a mistake.
I definitely think that's one of the biggest mistakes. I will name 3. Number 1 is, you know, find out if you're like a solo entrepreneur, as in like you want to be a solo founder, or you're a founder who works with other people, right? Because a lot of people, I mean, it's pretty standard to have 2 founders, right? And also the biggest success always come from 2 founders. Some people have 3, like in my case, but others, you know, do 1, right? So again, I would say number 1 is finding the right people that you want to do with, aka team, like how you're saying, Barry. Number 2 is also be aware of like that you're going to have to wear multiple hats. You're not going to be just the CEO and the boss and the visionary and the strategist and, you know, the sort of long-term thinker and planning and running on the overall business. So I would say that would be most real. Number 1 is, you know, be aware that you're going to be wearing multiple hats. And number 3 as well is going back to 101, which is, you know, what is your vision? What is your mission? And, you know, planning for that, right? Because if you don't do that, then the fundamentals and the foundation is going to be wrong. So, Ryan, I've said my piece, but I want to bring you on this. What common mistakes do first-time founders make, and how can they avoid them?
So I think the biggest one is, you know, can be encapsulated in the phrase, you know, when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. And, you know, having come up with your idea and your product, your solution, it's to sort of go too fast, too big on the solution, and over-investing and overbuilding, and, you know, burning all your time, energy, money on the wrong thing, without getting out and actually testing in the market and finding out, is it solving actually a legitimate pain point that you think is there? So the test, learn, iterate, you know, that's the key really to long-term sustainability of any idea, any startup. Not to get kind of believe your own hype too much, and let the market drive, you know, your direction.
I was just about to bring that up actually, which is, you know, would you also recommend, you know, starting with the market first, as in, you know, finding what your market is, you know, finding that pay killer for the market, you know, what the problem is that you're putting the pain out towards? Like, yeah,
There's
what are your thoughts on that?
Two aspects depending on what you're doing. If it's kind of a point solution to a particular problem, then you have to be very laser focused on the product market fit and the actual, you know, the validation, the data of that idea, and then the pilot test. if it's a visionary disruptive platform like Empower, it's a bit harder because we're solving multiple problems in multiple industries. So you're having to kind of innovate and imagine things that aren't there yet, and create the market yourself.
Yeah,
that's quite difficult to do. So it's harder to validate, of course, but you have to then pick a vertical or an MVP or a particular problem domain that you're going after first. Solve that problem first. So it depends a bit what your proposition is, really.
No, I agree, and also, proof of concept, right? I mean, that's the end of the line is getting your solution to that, and then proving the concept of that. So, But anyway, let's get into the next question because we've got 2 questions left and got 5 minutes. So I want to get these last 2 questions gone, and we'll bring Arela Monet into this, which is how do you assess whether a founder has the resilience to lead a company through uncertainty? So Arela, we'll bring you in.
No worries. I would say one, invest in a person who has battle scars. I think a person who has battle scars, has failed, definitely has learned a lot. Has been able to get back to the game. Basically, so means he's persistent. She is persistent. Basically, they have the grit, they have the passion to continue to move forward. They have the mental toughness, which a startup founder needs to have. So I think definitely failure doesn't make you give you a bad record. It's completely the opposite. I would say it gives you the experience really to learn and succeed, because you have learned a lot how to deal with people, how to deal with investors, how to deal with different partners. So you have a lot on your back pocket, and it's the best. And this is what you see from the best entrepreneurs we have right now. And also something to mention: being a startup founder today is much harder than being a startup founder 40 years ago or 30 years ago. So kudos to all of you who are really doing business, because every day is a battle, and every day you have to learn a lot. A lot is coming to you in terms of AI tools, in terms of everything. So it's hard. So it means that if you have the mental toughness to go through these hard times, then here we go.
Absolutely. Honestly, I couldn't agree more. Like that was fantastic and well laid out. So, and Monet, we'll bring you into the last question, and then also Judith quickly, which is what trends are influencing the startup ecosystem, and how can founders best prepare for them?
Great question. So I would definitely say a lot of AI usage, AI everything. Don't just, build your AI, make sure that you're using it. Have community-driven brands that are eating VC-backed companies for breakfast. So definitely develop your community, develop your network before you need a network. And then if you don't have a real revenue plan, then you really don't have a business. So founders need to stop chasing trends and just start mastering the fundamentals. Good business will always be a trend. So make sure that you leverage that and don't try to reinvent the wheel so much. Figure out what your audience works, test it before you build it. And, I love listening to a lot of podcasts from multi-million-dollar founders that are willing to share their business ideas and what they would have done differently and what worked for them. So definitely leverage their information and leverage the capital that is their information for sure.
Monet, I think you're on fire tonight. I'm not joking.
Why, thank you.
Also, I just want to quickly say, Queen Jam and King say, thank you. Mentorship is currency for sure. Cut the check and share your network.
I love it. Okay, now I'm gonna have to put that on a t-shirt.
Okay, now Judith, we'll just bring you in for this last question, and we'll have to keep it short because we're going to be running out of time, which is what trends are influencing the startup ecosystem, and how can founders best prepare for them, Judith?
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me back. The first one I'm going to talk about is technology. Well, we have to adapt to technology.
Judith, so just to jump in, Judith, we're having problems with your microphone. I can't hear you properly. It sounds very muffled. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay. I'm gonna have to bring.
Now?
There we go. Yes.
Okay. So I said that we need to adopt technology early. The problem with most startup founders is they try to avoid anything that has to do with AI as early as possible, sometimes even a long way down the line in their business, because they're like, I don't want these machines taking me off business, or I don't want to replace my workers with these things. But the truth is, at the end of the day, we need to collaborate with this AI thing. We need to collaborate and use technology a lot more. And the second one is sustainability. It's very important for startup founders to understand that investors favor long-term impact-driven business. Because the truth is, we're not just checking out, okay, what your short-term goal is, how much you want to make in 1 year. They're also checking out, if I invest in your business and have a stake in your business, how much am I supposed to get in the long run, like in 10 years or in 50 years from now? So they are looking at sustainability instead of just those short-term goals. Now, the last one I'm going to talk about is decentralization, right? It's always important to stay ahead, to be a founder that people look forward to hear about their information, and not someone that they be like, they never know what they're doing. It's always good to be the pace setter, to stay ahead of people, to stay ahead of your peers in business. And it's very important to be data driven, right? Do not deceive yourself and say things like, okay, I'm doing it the right way, when you're not really backing it up with data. So it's very important to be data driven, be true to yourself, be proactive, and be very, very adaptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith. And that is it for this panel. Thank you so much for everyone joining us. It's been a fantastic roundtable discussion. A lot of fantastic discussions about founders and everything like that. And one thing I will just add quickly, if you are a founder or even if you're just working within the company, make sure you learn AI. I don't care who you are, just learn AI. That's my bottom line advice. So thank you very much for everyone joining us. Make sure you follow everyone on LinkedIn, because everyone will be here on LinkedIn. And I enjoy the rest of GatherVerse 2025, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Goodbye.